Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Dose. Today is Tuesday, February 7th. Today was definitely a pretty unique day. We started off the day pretty flat, and then we heard from the Fed Chair, Jerome Powell. He had an interview today. He was answering some questions in Washington. And the market kind of went on a roller coaster ride during his interview. Some interesting things to highlight from the interview is that he said that the disinflationary process has begun. He did mention that one major area of the economy where it hasn't begun yet is housing, and he said that the Fed still needs to get that under control. He also said that although the disinflationary process has begun, it's still going to take a long time to get back down to the 2% target. He was asked if 3% could be a new reasonable target for the Fed. He said no, they won't consider changing their 2% target right now. He also said that higher interest rates than currently expected may be needed if inflation starts to creep back. But he kind of left it open-ended. He basically said that he and the rest of the Fed are going to look at the data as it comes in. They're going to make their decisions based off of that, but they're not going to stop being restrictive and using their tools, in his words, until inflation is back at 2%. He said that the jobs number wasn't necessarily good or bad. They don't take data as being good or bad. They just take it for what it is. There was a lot of interesting things happening, but the market skyrocketed at the beginning, dropped back down to session lows, and then came back steadily throughout the rest of the session. So the S&P 500 finished up 1.29%. As you can see on the chart, I mean, we pretty much are back to where we were almost at the peak on the 2nd of February. I think we're still kind of in this range between 4,200 and 4,100. Although this is a really good candle, the markets are moving pretty aggressively right now, which is kind of concerning to me. If we're really going to enter into a new market, a new bull market, you don't want to see stocks going this aggressively, in my opinion. Because I think if you see us go super aggressive to the upside, like almost similar to how we were back in like July, I think that usually follows with a really big downturn, which could lead us back into this grind lower. But obviously we still are above the trend line, still above the 200-day moving average. There's still a lot of things working in the bull's favor, but you definitely don't want to see just back to back really big green days. You don't want to see that. You'd rather see a slow grind higher, in my opinion. If we take a look at Bitcoin also ticked higher today. We are a little bit farther off those recent highs than we are in the stock market. Right now, the Bitcoin's at 23,224. And I also think we're kind of in this low range for Bitcoin. We're consolidating. And again, I say it every time we get into one of these ranges, but when you see this consolidation, this tight sideways movement, usually what follows is a pretty big move. For example, we had that sideways movement here, big move, sideways movement, big move, So that's what I'm looking at on Bitcoin. Not necessarily going to make a call one way or the other, but I will say we are kind of just consolidating at this 23,000 level at the moment. The stock market not really consolidating, kind of just, I guess you could say we were consolidating in the last 3 days, but it's been just super aggressive moves. We hit 4,200, back to 4,100, back to almost 4,200. Right now we're at 4,164 even. Really, really interesting times in the market right now. Really confusing times. You got a lot of things happening at once. Potential China reopening, but at the same time, all these potential problems with China, potentially limitations on outgoing investment into China now after the whole spy balloon thing. So there's a lot of uncertainty in this markets, a lot of uncertainty with how the Fed's going to move in the next few months. Really throughout the whole year. Like, are we at the peak rate? Are there going to be more rates? How many, or how more hikes? How many more hikes will there be? Will there be cuts this year? Will we just hold? Like, there's so much uncertainty right now that I think it's really hard for the market to make a move. And again, that's another reason why I get a little bit concerned seeing the market move so aggressively to the upside. But um, it's just a really confusing time in the markets for a lot of people, including myself, which is why you gotta stick to what you know. I try to get down to the fundamentals, take a look at the technicals every single day. That's kind of what I talk through with you guys here on the episodes. But I'm gonna leave it here for today. I really do appreciate everyone who's been watching and listening to these episodes. Um, If you do find value in them, please subscribe on YouTube and follow wherever you listen to podcasts. And I will see everybody tomorrow.